We begin this hour with a first look at today's planned testimony from IRS whistleblowers in the Hunter Biden probe.
We will also today learn the identity of whistleblower X, who we now know is a veteran special agent and a self-described Democrat who says the president's son, Hunter, should be facing felony charges, not misdemeanor.
Yep, 5 hours and counting. Lucas Tomlinson is live in Washington with the preview. Lucas.
Good morning, Steve, Ainsley, and Brian. The House Oversight Committee says they have communications and text messages reviewed by investigators that may be a contradiction to what President Biden was saying about not being involved in Hunter's business dealings overseas. Recall last year that report about a voicemail indicating President Biden knew of Hunter's dealings with a Chinese oil tycoon. Now back to whistleblower X, who's coming out today. Here's a bit from his opening statement. He did not mince words. Quote, prosecutors did not follow the ordinary process, slow-walked the investigation, and put in place unnecessary approvals and roadblocks from effectively and efficiently investigating the case. And here's from the opening statement from IRS whistleblower Gary Shapley, a supervisor who testified last month and appeared numerous times on Fox, leveling the following accusation. Prosecutors decided to conceal some evidence from the investigators. I had seen an undeniable pattern of preferential treatment and obstruction of the normal investigative process. The top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee disagrees. Jamie Raskin saying, quote, the only political interference at play in this case is taking place right now with Donald Trump and our GOP colleagues who continue their full-scale assault on the rule of law and our independent justice system. And in case you're just tuning in, here's Congressman Byron Donalds and Jim Jordan in the last hour.
Joe Biden, Hunter Biden have been lying to the American people for years over this stuff. Why did the Department of Justice slow walk and eventually end these investigations? Were they politically motivated? I believe they certainly were.
Who are you going to believe? You're going to believe the Biden-Garland Justice Department that said parents were terrorists, that Catholics were extremists, that censored people according to the federal court in Louisiana and have changed their story numerous times on this issue? Or are you going to believe Shapley and the other whistleblower who've now been confirmed by an FBI agent who testified Monday to the committee?
And just a reminder, Hunter Biden's first court date is set for next week for his plea deal on 2 misdemeanor tax avoidance counts and that felony gun charge, guys.
What's going on? Thank you, sir.
All right, this guy's a 13-year veteran, special agent. They've never been whistleblowers before. Let's bring in GOP Senator John Kennedy, member of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Senator, will you be watching today? I know you got your own job.
Yes. And here's my point of view right now for what it's worth. Have you ever flushed the toilet and the water starts rising? You go, dang, you know, I got a problem here. And I think that's where the Attorney General is. He thought he had finessed the prosecution of Mr. Hunter Biden. He had palmed it off on another prosecutor. Plea deal was reached, pretty favorable to Mr. Hunter Biden. He just didn't count on the whistleblowers. And I've listened to these whistleblowers. They sound pretty credible. I want to be fair and just say, objectively speaking, the only thing clear right now is somebody's lying. And the Attorney General is going to have to address this. There is a perception that Mr. Hunter Biden got special treatment. Some would argue that Mr. Hunter Biden has gotten special treatment his entire life. But what's different now is Dad is the President of the United States and purports to stand for the rule of law.
Sure. And so it will be interesting, Senator, you're absolutely right. We didn't see that toilet reference coming when they did the pre-interview, but that
I didn't see it either.
It made it perfect sense right there. There's so much we need to know the answers to because we've got, one side saying one thing, the other side saying something else. We need to connect the dots. And with these whistleblowers, we can start to connect the dots. But I have seen, you mentioned the Attorney General, I've seen some Republicans suggest that maybe it's time for Mr. Garland to be impeached. Do you think if they can somehow prove that the Department of Justice ran out the clock, slow walked things, ran the statute of limitations out, that the Attorney General should be impeached?
Well, if anyone has committed in public office at our level has committed a high crime and misdemeanor that you can prove, certainly that's the basis for an impeachment proceeding. But I just want to know what the facts are right now. I want to know who's lying. Somebody clearly is lying. Either the whistleblowers are lying or the Attorney General is lying. Now let's find out which one.
Yeah, put them both in the room together and ask them. Let them duke it out. Let's talk about Trump, because yesterday he was interviewed with Sean Hannity on the town hall in Iowa, and he talked about receiving that target letter on Sunday night. And it's not the only investigation into Trump. I think we have a full screen of all of the investigations into him: the classified document, federal investigation, the Manhattan DA indictment over hush money, January 6th, impeachments, Russia collusion claims, New York Attorney General civil investigation, and the Georgia election interference probe. It goes on and on and on. And yesterday, CNN was fixated on the special counsel, on Jack Smith visiting a Subway sandwich shop. They were wondering what type of sandwich he was getting, why he was going there, and trying to link it all to President Trump. Listen to this.
This is new video that we have just been getting into CNN. Special counsels, that's Jack Smith getting lunch at Subway, spotted on this historic day coming out of a Washington, D.C. subway.
Jack Smith going to Subway today is a message to Donald Trump. That was Jack Smith with no words and a simple $5 sub in his hand saying, I'm here, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, the imagery was intentional and spoke volumes.
Right.
People on Twitter, sometimes a sandwich is just a sandwich. Yeah. Pretty sure the message is that he was hungry. He wanted a sandwich. What do you say?
Well, let me say for the record, I'm a big Subway fan.
Me too.
That foot-long Titan turkey, I think they call it, will make you very regular.
You're back to that again.
Number two, I didn't think Mr. Smith going to Subway was particularly newsworthy.
Yeah.
I mean, if they had some film of him eating Cheerios off the floor with his dog, I would find that interesting. But just walking out of a Subway, I don't get the deeper meaning. Maybe it was a slow news day.
Senator, the former president's winning in every ballot by a lot, and they're lengthening over this. Do you believe that lead holds if he gets the nomination and goes to the general, or is this just winning over your party?
Oh, man, I don't know. I can't predict the future. I've got to wait for it like everybody else. I've made one prediction about the presidential election, and it is this. I'll repeat it. The experts will be wrong. They almost always are. If time were frozen today, I don't think you have to be to be a Mensa material to figure out that the two nominees would be President Trump and President Biden. And I think it'd be a very close race. But time is not frozen today. We'll just have to wait and see. I trust the American people, and I'm going to live with whomever they choose.
Senator, I saw a story this morning that apparently after he publicized that he had gotten this target letter, the former President Trump spoke on the phone with Speaker McCarthy and Elise Stefanik as well to strategize essentially their plans to defend him. Are Republicans on Capitol Hill united in defending the former president?
Well, I think most I can't speak for all Republicans. I'll speak for me. I don't know what the facts are. I haven't seen the indictment yet. I will say in terms of the politics, and this is a cynical point of view, but I think some Americans are drawing this conclusion that President Biden and President Trump have a codependency. President Trump wants President Biden as an opponent because he thinks he'll be the easiest to beat. President Biden wants President Trump as an opponent because, given President Biden's poll numbers, he polls right up there with Bud Light. He thinks President Trump is the only person he can beat. Now, one of them is going to be wrong, but I think, I hate to say this, but I think it's a fair observation. I think the Justice Department's going to do pretty much at the senior levels, whatever they can to make sure that President Trump is the nominee, because that's who President Biden wants.
Who are you endorsing?
I don't know. I'm going to wait and see what happens like everybody else.
All right. Senator, always great chatting with you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Senator.
I'm headed to Subway, boys.
It sounds delicious. Do they do breakfast? Because I'm hungry now, too.
Now, that tuna melt, man, it's hard to beat.
Okay. He knows the whole menu.
The salad's
It's
good.
delicious.
I love the way they call them sandwich artists.